Now, you probably talked to Andrea. Oh, God, I fucking hated, of all the jobs I've ever worked, I hated this. But anyway, this is too long to read the whole thing, but there are some pointed things I do need to read about this. And I sent it to everyone. I was like, this was me quitting. You guys said he fired me. No, here it is right here. This is at Amicis Trattoria in Glendale. Some fucking snobby ass, gaudy, stupid, fake class Italian restaurant. It really is fake class. You all need to get over yourself. I'm like, bitch, I'm from Marin. This is not, no. Andrea, you asked me to write you a letter to tell you that I quit. I took the liberty to interpret it exactly what you said. That would entail I might have read a little between the lines here, but I think it's probably what you were looking for. To say I quit would be only half the story. I was forced to by a hostile environment. You created such wizardry. Okay, this is actually hilarious, and you guys should read it. I make fun of them and their diets. You guys are saying I'm anorexic. Oh, no. I'm like, or whatever, or you may insert whatever disqualification can promptly help you disregard all that comes next. In other words, take with a grain of salt, but never butter. I know diets are very important at Amicis, and in fact, if you don't want to hear about what is about to be a rant about the running of your establishment or yourself, I challenge you not to read this at all. Okay. And I just go off, and I got people contacting me about this, and they're like, that was amazing. But here it is right here. I'm like, my paychecks were always late. You claimed it was because the hours were not properly logged, even though nearly every paycheck claimed less hours than I work, even up to half. You only reimbursed me for 12 hours. I got majorly scammed by them, and the hours were correct, written correctly. It's just the amount never totaled what it should. Sudden changes in shifts. You give me less than a couple hours notice to be like, you're coming in. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? And I live in the valley, and so it's like a whole thing. Purposefully inconveniently scheduling me. I told him I worked another job. He's like, well, you have to quit if you work here. I'm like, I told you that from the beginning. No breaks, you guys. That's not even legal. I'm like, first of all, you issue no breaks on any of my shifts for 6 hours. You also demanded that I work without any breaks on what was an 11.5-hour shift. That was so fucked. I'm like, when I told you that was illegal, you said, and I quote, it's not about what's illegal or legal, it's about what needs to be done. I'm like, my refusal was the only thing that kept my hypoglycemia from freaking going haywire. You guys said I wasn't hypoglycemic. I'm right here. And am I saying, oh, I like to lose weight and not have breaks? No, I'm complaining. I'm like, dude. Okay. And then I'm like, incidentally, working on these conditions and constantly skipping lunch led me to lose 7 pounds, which was already off of a small frame. And that's a health concern you might want to think about in the future. Awesome possum. No tip out policy. I'm like, hostesses don't like it when you scan their bodies. They would all complain. And I was a hostess as well, and a bartender. And I didn't like it either. He did it to me too. He liked my body, and it was like creepy though. He was dangling this other place for me to work at. So I could start work Whisper on Monday, and then it was like dangling the carrot. No event tip out. He would flood us with events, and I wouldn't get a tip out for it, which is like, what the fuck? Which actually, incidentally, is why I have this scar, because I didn't have anyone to help me, and god damn, it hurt so bad, dude. It went straight to the bone, and I was doing the lime thing, and it went, and I was like, fuck. But it's because I had to work so fast. No mistakes ever. One incident, a client asked for something. He ordered for a client, and then the client like whispered to me like, I don't really want that. Can you get me this? And so I was like, sure, no problem. And then he came up to me and was like, that's your mistake. And I was like, and I want to be like, well, actually, that's not what the client didn't want. And he's like, but if you do it again, oh yeah. When I tried to explain, you currently explain loudly. It is not negotiable. That was my first offense. And when it came up later, you said I need to talk to you before I make a mistake. I'm like, when I tried to explain the premeditated actions cannot be a mistake, the concept seemed lost on you. So I can only take from this that you're accusing me of making mistakes on purpose. But it wasn't even a mistake. Staff meetings. He would call these this is not legal either. Call these staff meetings at 9 in the morning. It's not legal. Arbitrary rules. He told me he made up like quizzes and shit, and I go, having had additional time to my schedule, which was not pre-planned, by the way, he had me stand in front of the kitchen, and he's like, I only saw 2 dishes come out. And to be like, pop quiz, can you identify the food that comes out? And I'm like, in the 45 minutes that I stood there, it was turkey lasagna, which looks exactly like fucking turkey lasagna, just to let you know. Thanks for the education. Open discussions leading to loss of promotions. Okay, the breaking point, workman's comp and cutting my finger. As I stood, blood dripping down my hand, you, instead of letting me leave promptly for the hospital, decided to claim that I had already messed up by not always having my workman's compensation packet on hand and person at all times. I'm like, I think the shock of that actually, like, who does that? What? You guys. I'm like, I know I'm not alone. So many people quit, dude. High turnover. And I'm like, I guess what I'm saying is that if you want to be an asshole like me, or just stay in a lowly, non-authoritative position like I did. Anyway. So, you know, and then you guys said that he fired me. No, I'm showing you for the many reasons that I quit. And then I went on their Facebook and wrote, because it's fine dining, come on down to the pork pulled barbecue. Little ones eat free. And then I stuck a bunch of cat butt post-its around for like a couple weeks. Yeah, fuck you. And then I left. And that's how I left Amicis. You said I was fired. Not true.